Introduce our first speaker, Grace Butler.
Good afternoon, Dr. Schwell, Mrs. Lyons, faculty, staff, and my fellow students. There are lots of different aspects to life. These include the many stages of school, work, and relationships with others. Throughout all of these important stages, it is important to take time every day for yourself. Oftentimes, no matter what our tasks are, whether it's a school assignment or a job you have to do, it can frequently become overwhelming. This could be because you are being asked to meet the expectations of others or expected to do something you would have never thought you had to do. Not taking breaks for yourself can be unhealthy and cause you to become anxious. Now, I have quite a few experiences just like this. In 2017, I joined Butler in the 3rd grade. This was truly an exciting experience for me because it was an opportunity to make better friends and do well in school. As my first school year at Butler went on, I realized that nothing I had learned at my old school was going to be taught here. This caused me to feel like I was behind. Realizing this, I knew I had to work even harder to keep up with the rest of the grade, but how could I? I didn't know how stressful it would be, but I did know the challenges and obstacles I would have to face to get through the school year. Throughout all the schools I've been to, I've never been pushed harder than Butler has pushed me, which is very overwhelming at the time. I didn't know how to study correctly or how to understand information the way I was meant to. This went for all my school subjects, but especially math. Math was something that never came easy to me. Because of this, I would spend a little over an hour completing one math sheet. At this time, my bedtime was around 8:30, but I often ended up going to bed at way later times, like 9 or 10 o'clock, due to the amount of time I had spent. When I didn't understand something, I would get overly upset with myself, and I would start thinking mean things about myself. I was not giving myself the breaks I needed to help manage my stress. Giving yourself breaks can allow you to clear your head and your mind and allow you to focus more. 4th grade was not much different. I started to follow along with everyone else, but math was still a subject that always seemed to stop me. What frustrated me the most was that I didn't know why. I would always think mean things about myself just because I didn't understand how to complete an assignment. A lot of the time, if I got a bad grade, I would always worry about others would say to me. Things like I'm not focusing or that I'm just not working or studying hard enough. Sayings like this always lowered my confidence and my motivation to do well in school. I often put a lot of pressure on myself, asking myself questions like, am I not studying hard enough or am I just not smart enough? I did this even when I knew I was studying my absolute hardest. I thought there was a wall keeping me from doing well and I didn't know how to break it. I know for a fact that feeling overwhelmed and stressed is not a good feeling. Not only can it affect someone mentally, but it can affect someone physically as well. For example, whenever I feel stressed out, my stomach starts to hurt or I can get a bad headache. But when stress affects me mentally, it can affect my thinking process or my mood throughout the day. When someone would tell me I'm not working hard enough, I would always wonder to myself, how can I work harder even when I'm already working my absolute hardest? Because of this, I started to compare myself to others. I would look at myself and not feel as smart as others in my grade. I felt like I was falling into a dark hole and it would slowly get lower and lower. I would always go to bed late forgetting everything I had studied and come home with a not so good grade. This was often the case because I never gave myself time to clear my head. In a way, I knew I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to be as academically smart as someone else. I realized how unhealthy all these feelings were, and I knew that I was pushing myself way too hard. This was really hard for me to accept, seeing as my grades were a little bit questionable. But by accepting this, I learned how to pace myself and take breaks. This helped me to prioritize not only my schoolwork, but it helped me to prioritize my self-care and my ability to think for myself. As I entered the 5th grade, I was allowed an IEP. This stands for Individualized Education Plan, and it allows me to have someone that can help me in each of my classes and help me to organize my tests and assignments. Having this plan in place really helped me to understand my learning style and stay on top of my work. Throughout all my years at Butler, I've always wanted to do well in each of my classes, but more recently, I have realized that in order to do that, I have to separate time for myself and time for my schoolwork. Looking at the success of others is not a good or healthy way to measure growth. The best way you can help yourself to grow is through self-reflection and understanding what makes you feel your best. Thank you.